Over the next few days, Zara found reasons to visit the garden. She told her guards she needed to inspect the new earth plants. Each time she spoke with Lily, learning more about human life and customs. The princess had never met anyone who spoke so freely. Lily forgot her nervousness around the princess after their third meeting. She showed Zara how to plant seeds and explained how earth flowers grew. Zara listened with interest, her scales shifting to bright colors of curiosity and wonder. "What is Earth like?" Zara asked one morning as they sat beside a small pond. Lily thought for a moment. "It's messy and noisy and beautiful people argue and laugh and make mistakes. Our cities aren't as perfect as yours, but they're full of life and different ideas." This sounded strange to Zara. Different ideas were not encouraged on Luminar society, worked best when everyone followed the same path. "Do you miss it?" Zara asked. "Sometimes," Lily admitted, "but I'm happy to be here too." She smiled. "I'm glad I met you." No one had ever said such a thing to Zara before. People were glad to meet the princess for the power and favor she could grant. Not simply glad to know her as a person, her scales flushed pink with pleasure. High Counselor Draz watched these meetings. With growing concern, the princess was spending too much time with the human. Her behavior was changing. She had begun asking questions in council meetings, suggesting new approaches, challenging traditions. "This could not continue, Your Majesty," Draz said to Emperor Vex. "The human influence is corrupting your daughter. She neglects her duties to spend time with this Earth woman." The Emperor frowned. "I have noticed changes in Zara." He admitted his daughter's scales had shown more vibrant colors lately. She seemed more alive, more engaged, but she had also become more difficult to control. "Perhaps it is time to make a final decision about her marriage," Draz suggested. "Once she is properly matched, her focus will return to her responsibilities." The Emperor nodded. "The grand selection will be held in 7 days. Zara must choose a mate from among the final suitors." Meanwhile, Lily was teaching Zara about dancing. The princess watched in amazement as Lily moved to a rhythm only she could hear. "Now you try," Lily encouraged. Zara felt foolish. Her people did not move this way. But something about the freedom of the movement called to her. She took a small step, then another. Lily clapped in delight. "You're getting it." Lily laughed. For the first time in her life, Zara felt her body moving without the strict patterns of royal protocol. Her scales shifted through a rainbow of emotions as she spun in circles. "What are you doing?" The cold voice froze both women. Counselor Draz stood at the garden entrance, his scales a dark red of anger. "Princess Zara, you dishonor yourself with this display," he said. "Your father expects you in the throne room immediately." Zara straightened her posture, her scales shifting to formal blue. "We will continue tomorrow." "Lily," she said with quiet dignity. Then she followed Draz back to the palace. When they were alone, Draz spoke harshly. "Princess, this human fills your head with dangerous ideas. The council has decided to limit your contact with the earth." Team Zara felt anger rise within her. "You have no right to decide who I speak with. I have every right to protect our culture, our traditions, our future." Draz snapped. "These humans threaten everything we have built. Do you think their chaotic society could create the peace and order we have maintained for 1,000 years? Zara thought of Lily's stories of Earth. The humans had wars and conflicts, true, but they also had art, music, literature, ideas that evolved and changed. Their society was not perfect, but it was alive. The next day, guards blocked Zara's path to the garden. "By order of the council, Your Highness, the human work areas are restricted." Zara returned to her rooms, her scales dark with frustration. She found ways to send messages to Lily through palace servants. They continued to share ideas through written notes when they could not meet in the garden. Lily worried about Zara. The other humans had noticed her friendship with the princess. Some warned her to be careful. "You're playing with fire." Marie Nelson, the team leader, told her, "These aliens aren't like us. They don't value personal connections the way we do." Lily disagreed. "Zara's different. She's curious. She wants to learn." Marie shook her head. "Whatever you think you see in her, Remember, she's not human. She's the heir to an empire that sees us as barely civilized. Lily thought about Zara's questions, her wonder at simple things like humming and dancing. There was more to the princess than others could see. In the palace, Zara faced increasing pressure. The grand selection was approaching. Her father summoned her to his private chambers. "My daughter, the time has come to fulfill your duty," he said. "The empire needs stability. The selection ceremony will proceed in 5 days. You will choose a mate from among the suitors we have approved. But father, none of them see me as anything but a path to power." Zara protested. "They care nothing for me, only for what I represent." The emperor sighed. "That is what it means to be royal. We do not have the luxury of personal desire. Our lives serve the empire. What if there is another way to serve?" Zara asked. "What if we could learn from other cultures, like the humans?" The emperor's scales darkened. "The humans are a curiosity, nothing more. Their society lacks our discipline, our unity. But they create, they adapt, they change." Zara argued, "While we remain frozen in traditions that haven't changed in centuries." "Enough," the emperor thundered. "You will perform your duty." Zara left her father's chambers, her mind racing. She needed to speak with Lily to understand her own conflicted feelings. But how could she reach her friend with guards blocking the way? That night, a palace servant brought Zara a small earth flower and a note, "Midnight East Garden Wall." The plant. She needs repair. When the palace slept, Zara slipped from her rooms wearing a simple cloak that hid her royal garments. She avoided the guard patrols using secret passages she had discovered as a child. Lily waited in the shadows of the tool shed. The small building had a loose panel in the back wall just large enough to slip through. "Zara," she whispered when the princess appeared. "I'm sorry about the guards." Zara embraced Lily, an act that would shock any luminary observer. Royal luminary never touched others casually. But the warmth of the human contact felt right. They talked for hours in the small shed. Lily told stories of Earth families who married for love, not duty, artists who created works that challenged society, leaders who changed. "Unjust laws. I must choose a mate in 5 days," Zara said finally, "and I cannot bear the thought." Lily's eyes filled with sympathy. "I'm sorry, I wish I could help." "Perhaps you already have," Zara said softly. Her scales glowed with a new color, one she had never shown before, a deep gold that seemed to shine from within. As they said goodbye, Zara made a decision. The path ahead would not be easy, but for the first time she could see a future that felt true. Princess Zara of Luminar stood at her window and looked at the stars. She felt trapped in her royal life. Her skin shimmered with blue scales that changed color with her mood. Right now they glowed a sad dark blue. She was tired of palace life and all its rules. The luminary people ruled 3 star systems. They were tall beings with scale-covered skin that showed their feelings through color changes. Their society had strict rules about everything from how to speak to who could marry whom. As the only daughter of Emperor Vex, Zara faced more rules than most. Tomorrow would bring yet another line of suitors. Men from important families would try to win her hand. She had turned away 47 suitors so far. Her father was losing patience. Zara touched the cool glass of her window. If only she could find someone who saw her as more than a political prize, someone who cared about her thoughts and dreams on Earth. Lily Foster packed her bags for the journey of a lifetime. She had been selected as part of the first human team to work on Luminar. Her job would be to study how Earth plants might grow in alien soil. She had short brown hair, bright eyes, and a smile that made others feel at ease. The human diplomatic corps had warned her about Luminari customs. Their society valued order above all else. Show proper respect to the nobles, never speak unless spoken to, and never ever touch a luminary without permission. Lily didn't worry about the rules. She was more interested in the plants she would study. She had worked for years to become a top botanist. This assignment was everything she had worked for. The transport ship hummed as it prepared for the long journey. Lily looked out at Earth growing smaller behind them. She felt excited, but also nervous. Humans and Luminari had only established relations 5 years ago. Most humans had never even seen a Luminari in person. On Luminar, preparations for the arrival of the human team were underway. Emperor Vex had allowed this cultural exchange only after much debate. The Royal Council feared human influence would disrupt their society. Humans were known to be emotional, unpredictable, and worst of all, they valued something called individual choice above the needs of society. Zara found herself curious about the humans. She had studied reports about Earth and its people. They seemed so different, so free. Despite being physically weaker than Luminari, they had developed remarkable technology and art. Zara secretly hoped to meet one of these strange beings. The morning of the Suitor parade arrived. Zara sat on her throne as her attendants dressed her in formal robes. Her scales shimmered with forced politeness, a light purple that hid her true feelings. The first suitor approached. Lord Kren of the Eastern Province. He bowed deeply. Your Highness, I offer an alliance between our houses. My province controls the largest mines of crystal ore in the Empire. Zara nodded politely. She had heard similar offers many times before. Lord Kren, like all the others, saw her only as a way to gain power. As the day wore on, Zara met 12 suitors. Each one boasted of wealth, land, or political connections. None asked about her interests or dreams. By evening, her scales had darkened to a deep blue of depression. Meanwhile, across the palace grounds, the human transport ship landed with a soft hiss. Lily and 20 other humans stepped onto luminary soil for the first time. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth, making them feel bouncy, and lighter royal guard met them. You will follow me to your quarters. The humans will work in the East Gardens. Your access is limited to designated areas. Lily looked around in wonder. The luminary capital gleamed with crystal spires and flowing architecture. Everything seemed designed for perfect harmony and balance. She could hardly wait to see the gardens. The next morning, Lily rose early and went to the gardens. She had special permission to begin work before the others. She carried a case of earth, seedlings carefully selected to survive in luminary soil. The royal garden stretched before her with strange and beautiful plants. Growing things were the same everywhere, she thought. They all reached for light, needed water, and responded to care. She knelt in the soft soil and began to plant her seedlings. She hummed softly as she worked, an old habit that helped her concentrate. She didn't notice the tall figure watching her from behind a crystal arch. Zara had escaped her morning duties to find peace in the garden. The sound of humming caught her attention. She had never heard such a sound before. It rose and fell in a pleasing pattern that made her scales shimmer with curiosity. The princess moved closer and saw a small figure kneeling in the dirt. The human had no scales. Its skin was a single color, and it made that strange sound from its mouth. Zara found herself moving closer. Fascinated, Lily looked up and gasped. She scrambled to her feet, nearly dropping her tools. A luminari, noble, stood before her. The alien scales shimmered with bright colors that shifted like a rainbow. I'm sorry, Lily said quickly, bowing her head. I didn't mean to disturb anything. Zara tilted her head. What is that sound you were making? Lily blinked. Oh, you mean my humming? It's just a song. It's something humans do when they work or feel happy. Zara had never heard of making sounds for happiness. Music on Luminar was formal, reserved for ceremonies, and performed exactly the same way each time. What is your name? Human Zara asked. Lily Foster. Your Highness. She wasn't sure of the proper address. Zara found herself charmed by the human's awkwardness. Show me more of this humming. That first meeting lasted only minutes before royal guards found the princess and escorted her back to her duties. But as Zara left, she glanced back at the strange human with no scales, who made music for no reason other than joy. Something had changed in Zara. Her scales now shimmered with a new color, one she had rarely felt before: excitement. The day of the grand selection arrived. The great hall of the palace gleamed with crystal decorations. Luminary nobles from all provinces gathered to witness the princess choose her mate. 6 final suitors stood in a row, each dressed in formal attire. that displayed their rank and wealth. Emperor Vex sat on his throne with Counselor Draz at his side. The Emperor noticed his daughter's scale seemed unusually calm, not the nervous flutter he expected. She had been different these past weeks, more confident, more determined. Zara entered wearing traditional royal robes. Her head was held high, her movements precise and formal as tradition demanded. But something in her eyes had changed. The ceremony began with ancient words spoken by the high priest. Each suitor stepped forward presenting gifts and promises. Lord Kren offered expanded mining rights. Lord Voss promised military alliance. Lord Zenith spoke of his pure bloodline. All spoke of advantages to the Empire. None spoke of Zara herself. When the last suitor finished, the high priest turned to Zara, Princess of Luminar, blood of the Crystal Throne. You have heard the offers of these noble men. Speak now your choice for mate and consort. The hall fell silent. All eyes watched the princess. Zara's scales began to shift, not to the expected blue of royal duty, but to a bright copper of determination. I have listened to these offers. She began, her voice clear and strong. Each speaks of what they bring to our empire. Land, wealth, armies, alliances. These are valuable things, but none speaks of what they bring to me. None asks what I might want or think or feel. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Draz leaned toward the Emperor. This is the human influence, he whispered. She must be stopped. Zara continued, I have studied our history. In ancient times before the Great Unification, our people valued not just order, but also growth and change. The earliest luminary texts speak of the balance between stability and renewal. Our ancestors understood that, without change there is no life, only existence. Her father shifted on his throne. Where was this leading? I have also studied the humans. Zara said they are different from us. Yes, their society lacks our perfect order, but they possess something we have lost. They question, they create, they feel deeply. They value the individual as well as the collective. She turned to face the 6 suitors. I cannot choose any of you, not because you lack worth, but because a true union must be based on more than political advantage. It must include respect, understanding, and yes, what humans call love. Gasps echoed through the hall. Draz stood. Love is a human weakness, he shouted. Your Highness has been corrupted. Emperor. Vex raised his hand for silence. Daughter, what are you saying? Zara faced her father. I propose a new kind of alliance. Not through forced marriage, but through cultural exchange. Let us learn from the humans as they learn from us. Let us remember what our ancestors knew, that strength comes from growth, not just from stability. In the back of the hall, several younger luminari began to glow with the same copper color as the princess, their scales reflecting agreement with her words. They had also spoken with the humans. They too had begun to question. Drazi saw the spreading color with alarm. Your Majesty, he hissed, this threatens everything. She speaks treason. The Emperor studied his daughter. He had not seen such passion in her before, such conviction. Perhaps there was wisdom in her words, but tradition could not be dismissed so easily. The law is clear. He said finally, the princess must choose or forfeit her position. Then I choose a new path. Zara declared, I choose to serve the Empire by leading us toward a future that embraces both our traditions and new ideas. I choose to step away from the throne until I can prove the value of what I propose. Shock rippled through the assembly. No royal had ever voluntarily surrendered position. The 6 suitors looked at each other in confusion. This was not how the ceremony was supposed to proceed. The Emperor rose. Daughter, think carefully. The path you suggest has never been walked, because we have forgotten how to walk new paths. Zara answered. We've forgotten how to grow from her place among the other humans. At the back of the hall, Lily watched with pride and fear. Zara was risking everything for ideas they had discussed in the garden. She had no idea the princess would take such a dramatic stand. Draz saw an opportunity. Princess Zara has clearly been influenced by human corruption. He announced, I propose the Earth delegation be expelled from Luminar before they cause more damage. No, said a new voice. Everyone turned. Lord Zenith, one of the suitors, stepped forward. I have spoken with the humans, too. They have shown me new ways to manage resources that could double production in my province. Their ideas have value. Another noble spoke up. The Earth medical techniques have helped my daughter when our healers could not. Their knowledge deserves. Study voices rose throughout the hall. Some agreed with Draz calling for the humans to be sent away. Others supported exploring new ideas. The perfect order of luminary society showed its first cracks as debate spread. The Emperor raised his hands. For silence, this matter requires careful consideration. The grand selection is suspended. Zara will retain her title while the council debates the path forward. Draz couldn't believe what he was hearing. The Emperor was actually considering this madness. He had to act quickly before more damage was done that night. As Lily worked late in the garden, Draz approached with 4 guards. The human delegation has been ordered to leave immediately, he said. Your presence destabilizes our society. Lily stood. Her ground. I don't think those orders came from the Emperor. She said she had learned enough about luminary politics to know Draz was acting on his own. You will be escorted to your ship. Draz insisted. Lily crossed her arms. We have a formal agreement. With your government, we won't leave without proper authorization. Draz's scales burned red with anger. Guards, take this human to holding. She will be removed by force if necessary. The guards moved forward but stopped when a new voice rang out. You will not touch her. Zara stood at the garden entrance. Her scales glowed with royal authority. Counselor Draz, you act without permission of the throne. Draz turned, Your Highness. I act to protect our way of life by violating our treaties, by acting without council approval, by threatening a guest of the Empire. Zara shook her head. Is this the order you seek to preserve? The guards looked uncertain. Draz was High Council, but Zara was royal blood. Where did their duty lie? Zara spoke directly to the guards. My father, the Emperor, has called for debate and consideration. Counselor Draz attempts to circumvent the Emperor's will. The guards stepped back from Lily. Their loyalty to the throne outweighed Draz's authority. Draz realized he had overplayed his position. This isn't over, he warned before striding away. When he had gone, Zara rushed to Lily. Are you all right? Lily nodded. I think so. But what happens now? Draz will try again. Zara said he fears change more than anything. He believes humans threaten everything. That makes us Luminari. He isn't entirely wrong. Then maybe we should leave. Lily suggested. I don't want to cause a civil war. Zara took Lily's hands. That choice isn't yours to make. The questions you helped me ask needed asking. Our society has been frozen. For too long, you showed me there can be balance between order and growth, between tradition and progress. But Draz has supporters. Lily warned. Zara nodded. So do I. Now get some rest. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. Neither woman could guess how right those words would prove to be. Dawn brought chaos to the royal palace. Emperor Vex had fallen ill during the night. Royal physicians surrounded his bed, while Draz seized the opportunity. He called an emergency council meeting. The Emperor is incapacitated, Draz announced, with no consort chosen. Princess Zara cannot assume full authority. I move that the council take temporary control. Half the council members glowed with agreement, their scales showing traditional blue. The others hesitated, uncertain. Zara received the news. In her chambers, her father had seemed fine the previous evening. This sudden illness seemed too convenient. She hurried to her father's rooms, but guards blocked her path. By order of the council, the Emperor is under quarantine. No visitors. Zara knew this violated royal protocol. The heir always had access to the Emperor, especially during illness. Something was very wrong. She sought out Dr. Mira, her father's personal physician who had served the royal family for decades. The doctor's scales showed worry. The Emperor shows signs of crystal dust poisoning, she whispered. A rare toxin found only in the deep mines. Who would have access to such a poison? Zara asked. Only high-ranking officials, Mira said. Someone who could access the Emperor's private dining room, Zara said. Her scales darkened with anger. The doctor nodded. Possibly. But I have no proof, and the council has ordered me to step aside. A new medical team is taking over. They claim my methods are outdated. Zara realized the plot reached further than she had imagined. Draz was making his move, eliminating those loyal to the throne and replacing them with his supporters. She needed allies, but who could she trust? She sent word to Lily through a servant loyal to her family. The human would be safer away from the palace. Lily received Zara's message with alarm. The other humans had noticed increased security around their quarters. Marie, their team leader, called them together. "We're being confined to this area for our protection," she said, looking skeptical. "The political situation has become unstable." Lily shared what she knew. "The Emperor is sick. Draz is grabbing power. I think Zara's in danger." Marie frowned. "This is exactly why we shouldn't get involved in alien politics. Our mission was scientific, not political. But we can't just abandon her." Lily protested Earth Central would order us to stay neutral. Marie said, "But," she sighed, "she helped save you from Draz last night. That puts us in her debt." The human team began quietly gathering information from palace workers who maintained their quarters. Many luminary servants had grown fond of the humans and their less formal ways. They whispered of council meetings, of guards being reassigned, of rumors that the princess was to be confined for health evaluation. In the council chamber, Draz presented his case. "The princess has shown signs of instability. Her scales display colors outside normal patterns. She speaks of human concepts like love and individual choice. Clear evidence of contamination." Several council members nodded in agreement. Lord Voss spoke. "Our society cannot risk such disorder. The princess must undergo purification." Treatment. Purification was an ancient practice rarely used in modern times. It involved isolation and mental conditioning to restore proper luminary thought patterns. Lord Zenith objected as questioning tradition, now considered mental illness. "Will you purify me as well for suggesting we might learn from humans?" The council erupted in argument. Draz called for order. "We must protect our way of life from corruption," he insisted. "That is our highest duty." A young council member named Tala spoke up. "Perhaps our highest duty is truth." She had visited Earth as part of an earlier delegation. The humans value something called scientific method, testing ideas rather than simply accepting tradition. Draz dismissed her words with a wave. The council voted. 7 members supported placing Zara under protective custody, while 5 opposed. Draz had won, but by a smaller margin than he expected. Guards were sent to bring the princess to the purification chambers. But when they arrived at her rooms, they found them empty. Zara had vanished. Draz ordered a palace lockdown. No one enters or leaves, especially no humans. In the lower levels of the palace, Zara moved through forgotten passages. Her ancestors had built secret ways to escape in times of danger. She had studied these paths as a curious child, never thinking she would need them. She reached the central communication hub where messages were sent across the empire. She needed to speak to the people directly, to tell them what was happening, but the guards would stop her. Then she saw a familiar face. Carol Beck, one of the human technicians, was working with Luminari, staff to upgrade the communication system. "Carol," she whispered from the shadows. The human looked up startled, then pretended to drop something, rolling a tool near Zara's hiding place. She bent to retrieve it. "Princess, what are you doing here?" she whispered. "Need to send a message throughout the empire." Zara explained. "Can you help me?" Carol thought quickly. The new system we're installing has a feature the Luminari don't fully understand yet. It creates a temporary override channel for emergency broadcasts. "Show me," Zara said. While Draz organized search parties, Carol showed Zara how to access the emergency channel. The princess recorded her message. "People of Luminar. This is Princess Zara. The Empire faces danger from within, not from without. Counselor Draz has seized power while my father, the Emperor, suffers from suspicious illness. Those who question tradition are being silenced, but our oldest traditions value both stability and growth. Remember the balance our ancestors taught. Look to the ancient texts. The Empire needs your voices now." The message broadcast across all luminary communication devices. Draz roared with anger when he heard it. He ordered the system shut down, but the damage was done. Throughout the Empire, luminari of all ranks heard the princess words. Many older citizens dismissed it as the rambling of a corrupted mind. But younger luminari, especially those who had interacted with humans or studied off-world, began to speak among themselves. They searched for the ancient texts. Zara mentioned in homes and public spaces discussions broke out. Some defended the traditional order, others questioned it. For the first time in generations, luminary society experienced open debate. Zara knew the broadcast would buy her time, but not safety. She needed to reach her father to protect him and restore his health. But the Royal Medical Center would be heavily guarded. Lily and the human team had been confined to their quarters with guards at every exit. Marie analyzed their situation. The diplomatic shuttle is still in the landing bay. If we could reach it, we could leave. Leave? Lily shook her head. I won't abandon. Zara Marie gave her a hard look. This isn't our fight, Lily. But it is, Lily insisted. We brought this change. Maybe not intentionally, but our presence, our ideas, our different way of being sparked. Something that was already waiting to happen. We can't just walk away. The team debated. Opinions divided. Some wanted to leave immediately. Others felt responsible for the situation. None wanted to risk their lives in alien politics. Finally, Marie made a decision. Earth Central would have my head for this. But she shook her head. All right. What can we do to help the princess? They gathered around a table and began to plan. While the humans lacked luminary strength or authority, they had something valuable: flexibility and creativity. Approaches the rigid luminary guards wouldn't expect. In the lower city, rumors spread. Merchants who traded with off-worlders shared stories they had heard from human visitors. Stories of societies that changed and grew. Stories of leaders who listened to their people. Small gatherings formed in homes and workplaces. Some luminary scales began to glow with the same copper color. Zara had displayed a color that had once been common in ancient times before the Great Unification. A color that meant renewal. Draz received reports of these gatherings with growing alarm. He ordered more guards into the city. Arrest those who spread disorder. Lord Zenith confronted him in the council chamber. You cannot arrest an entire generation, Draz. Their scales show what they feel. The copper renewal is spreading. Draz faced him coldly. Then we will arrest you first, for encouraging it. Guards moved to seize Lord Zenith. But 3 council members stood with him, their scales also showing copper. This is not our way, Tala said. We decide by council vote, not by force. The balance of power was shifting. Draz could feel it slipping away. He needed to find Zara, to either force her compliance or remove her permanently. As night fell over the capital city, the crisis reached its turning point. Zara moved through the night shadows toward the Royal Medical Center. Her father's life hung in the balance. A trusted servant had smuggled her a palace uniform with a hood that hid her royal features. The medical center gleamed with cold light. Guards stood at every entrance. Zara watched from hiding, searching for a way in. A commotion erupted at the main gate. A group of luminary workers arrived carrying equipment. Emergency air system repair 1 called to the guards. Sensors show contamination. In the Emperor's wing. The guards checked their credentials, then allowed them through. Zara noticed something odd about their movements. They moved with unusual postures, less fluid than typical luminari, and their voices sounded strange with shock, and realized they weren't luminari at all. The humans had disguised themselves with scale paint and robes. Zara used the distraction to slip through a service entrance. Once inside, she navigated the familiar halls, keeping her head down, avoiding eye contact. She reached her father's treatment room. 2 guards stood outside. Zara hesitated, unsure how to proceed. Then the lights flickered and died. Emergency generators hummed to life, casting the hall in dim blue light. The guards looked around, confused. A voice came over the communication system. Security breach in lower level. All available personnel report. 1 guard touched his communication device. Nothing about the Emperor's room, should we? The other guard hesitated, but standing orders. Their debate was interrupted by Dr. Mira, who hurried down the hall. The doctor had been banned from the medical center, but in the confusion, no one questioned her presence. "The Emperor requires immediate treatment," she said with authority. "Step aside." The guards, uncertain, in the emergency yielded to her medical rank. Zara slipped into the room behind her. Emperor Vex lay pale on a medical bed, his scales dull and lifeless. Monitoring devices surrounded him. A treatment protocol displayed on a screen showed medications. Zara didn't recognize Mira examined the equipment. "This is all wrong," she said. "These medications worsen crystal dust poisoning rather than treat it. They are killing him. Can you help him?" Zara asked. Mira nodded. "I brought proper antidotes, but we must work quickly." As they administered the treatment, the door opened. Draz stood there flanked by 4 guards. His scales burned dark red with fury. "Step away from the Emperor," he commanded. Zara faced him. "You poisoned my father." Draz didn't deny it. "The Empire requires strong leadership. Your father grew weak, allowing humans to corrupt our society. He would have let you destroy 1,000 years of perfect order. You speak of order, but you bring chaos." Zara said, "You claim to protect tradition while violating our most sacred law, loyalty to the Emperor." The guards shifted uncomfortably, their scales showing conflict. Did their duty lie with the council or with the royal family? Draz sensed their uncertainty. "Arrest them," he ordered. "The princess is mentally unstable. The doctor is her accomplice." The guards didn't move, their scales now showed the copper of renewal. One spoke. "Your orders contradict our oath to the Emperor." Draz reached for a weapon. "Fools, I will do what must be done." The door burst open again. Lord Zenith entered with Tala and other council members. Their scales all glowed copper. "The council has voted," Tala announced. "Councillor Draz, you are removed from authority for crimes against the Emperor. Guards, restrain him." Lord Zenith ordered. Draz backed away. "This is human corruption. You have all been contaminated." He turned to flee but found his path blocked. Lily stood there along with Marie and other humans. They had shed their disguises. The humans formed a line, preventing Draz from escaping. Draz looked around wildly, seeing enemies everywhere. How could perfect order fall so quickly? He raised his weapon, targeting Zara. "If the princess dies, the Empire will have no choice but to return to tradition." A guard tackled him before he could fire. The weapon skittered across the floor. Draz fought but was quickly overwhelmed as Draz was led away. Dr. Mira continued treating the Emperor. His color slowly improved, his scales regaining luster. The poison would leave his system with time over. The next few days, the capital city experienced more open debate than it had seen in centuries. The council remained divided, but the copper renewal spread especially among younger luminari. When Emperor Vex regained consciousness, Zara told him everything that had happened. He listened with royal calm, though his scales showed surprise and concern. "You defied tradition," he said finally. "No," Father Zara corrected. "I honored our oldest traditions. The ancient texts speak of balance between stability and growth. Our ancestors understood that a society that cannot change cannot survive. The Emperor considered this. I have ruled following the ways I was taught, but perhaps those teachings were incomplete." "Renewal requires wisdom," Zara said. "We need not abandon all tradition to embrace new ideas." In the garden, Lily supervised the planting of a new section earth plants growing alongside luminary species. The garden had become a symbol of cooperation. Between plants, between worlds, Zara found her there. The princess wore simpler robes now. Her scales glowed with health and purpose. "The council has reached a decision," she told Lily. "The human delegation will stay. Cultural exchange will continue." Lily smiled. "I'm glad we have so much to learn from each other." "I have a proposal for you," Zara continued. "I wish to establish an advisory group, luminary and humans working together to find balance in all things. Will you help lead it?" Lily looked surprised. "Me? I'm just a botanist. You see connections. Others miss, Zara said. Between plants, between people, between ideas, that is rare and valuable. Lily considered. What about your royal duties? Zara smiled. Those continue. The empire still needs stability, but it also needs growth. My father agrees reluctantly, but he agrees. What about those suitors? Lily teased. Are you still expected to choose? Zara laughed. That tradition remains but has been modified. I may choose when I am ready, and whom I believe will best serve the empire, and the council's definition of suitable has expanded together. They walked through the garden where plants from two worlds grew side by side. Neither could have predicted their friendship would change an empire, but small seeds often grow into mighty things. Throughout the capital city Luminari, scales glowed with colors not seen in generations. A renaissance had begun, a renewal of art, music, literature, and science. Human ideas mixed with luminary wisdom, creating something new. Some older luminari resisted change, clinging to tradition. But they could not stop the copper glow spreading across the younger generation, or the new ideas taking root. In the great library, an ancient text was displayed for public viewing. For the first time in centuries, words written by the first emperor. Society without order falls to chaos. A society without growth falls to dust. Balance in all things. This is the highest wisdom. Zara had reminded her people of their own history, their own values, and in doing so had helped them rediscover themselves. And the palace balcony. Zara and Lily stood watching the twin moons rise. The princess scales shimmered with colors that shifted and changed, a visual symphony of emotions. Teach me that humming again, Zara requested. Lily smiled and began a simple earth melody. After listening carefully, Zara joined her voice, blending with the humans. The first duet between their species. A small thing, perhaps, but small things change. Worlds across the city, across the planet. Others heard their song and wondered what new harmonies tomorrow would bring.